Just in, after weeks of drama, House Democrats officially nominating Nancy Pelosi as House Speaker. Let's bring in CNN congressional correspondent Phil Mattingly. And Phil, what was the final vote? How close was it?
Not very. And to put it in perspective, I'll give you the tally first. It was 203 to 32. In 2016, when Nancy Pelosi was running for House Minority Leader, she actually had 64 no votes. Now, Brooke, it's important to note, this was the caucus vote. There still needs to be a floor vote. And based on the 32 who voted against her, Nancy Pelosi still has work to do. Basically, if Democrats have a majority with 235 seats, she will need 218 of those individuals to vote for her on the floor to officially become Speaker. So she's going to have to flip at least 16 or 17 votes. That said, Brooke, there are 5-6 weeks before that vote will actually occur, and the extent of the effort behind the scenes that Pelosi, her allies, both inside and outside of Congress over the last couple of weeks have done to get her to this point has been immense. It's expected to continue. The expectation right now when you talk to senior Democrats is that she will be able to get there. But Brooke, again, more work to do, but a very, very good first step for Nancy Pelosi in this process to become Speaker once again.
Phil, hang tight for me because I want to get into another huge topic up on the Hill. Today's classified briefing to the entire U.S. Senate has changed few minds about how the U.S. should be dealing with Saudi Arabia. A bipartisan group continues to call for the U.S. to pull its support for the Saudi-led war in Yemen as one way to crack down on the Crown Prince, who ordered the killing of U.S.-based journalist Jamal Khashoggi. At least that is the assessment from the CIA. But both Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Defense Chief James Mattis are backing away from directly linking the Crown Prince, saying that the intelligence doesn't support it. The two gave the briefing to the senators this morning, advocating the president's stance that the U.S. should continue its current support of the Saudis. Here was the Secretary of Defense moments ago.
We have no smoking gun that the Crown Prince was involved, not the intelligence community or anyone else. There is no smoking gun. We have not changed that. Accountability for the murder is our expectation of everyone involved in the murder. Accountability is our position, has not changed at all. And by the way, I have read all the intel. I have personally read all the intelligence. I have read all the translations.
Meantime, I just talked to Democratic Senator Jeanne Shaheen, who told me she has read the intelligence report. She concludes that the Crown Prince is indeed responsible and said this about the briefing by Mike Pompeo.
I think it's important to point out that I think Secretary Pompeo has misjudged the frustration that exists in the Senate of a series of actions by the Saudi government.
So Phil Mattingly is back with me. Also joining us, CNN Global Affairs correspondent Elise Labott. And Phil, on the reaction to this briefing today, it's not just the Democrats, but it's also Republicans who want more done against the Saudis. Tell me what Senator Lindsey Graham said.
Yeah, Brooke, it's always worth remembering that at least when they're caring about it, the congressional prerogative that senators have, one thing that gets their backs up is when they feel like they're being ignored. And that's exactly what's going on right now. And you mentioned it's not a partisan issue. It's not just Democrats that oppose the Trump administration. It's Republicans as well, including one of the president's most vocal and trusted allies, Senator Lindsey Graham. Take a listen to what he said after the briefing.
I'm glad we had it. I admire both secretaries, but it was inadequate because the CIA was not there. Any key vote, anything that you need me for to get out of town, I ain't doing it until we hear from the CIA.
Have you made that clear to the president?
I just did.
So just to put that in perspective, there's a government funding deadline in 9 days, and Senator Lindsey Graham, who is an appropriator who would be working on that bill, is saying he will not vote for whatever they come up with if he does not get a CIA briefing. Now, Brooke, there's also a separate issue here. You were talking about U.S. support for Saudi Arabia as it pertains to Yemen. In just about an hour, maybe even less than that, we are going to have a critical vote on the Senate floor where senators who are supposed to be briefed today in an effort by the administration to sink that vote, to basically kill that resolution, to block the support, will have an opportunity to take that vote. And Brooke, what I'm being told right now, and based on what I've heard from senators who have voted against it in the past, that resolution is likely to move forward. So on multiple fronts right now, the Trump administration is dealing with senators in both parties who are very upset by what has transpired over the course of the last couple of weeks with Saudi Arabia.
So as the White House deals with that, you have Secretary Pompeo, who came out of that briefing, Elise, and was asked, why wasn't the CIA chief in the room?
Why wasn't the current CIA director here briefing senators as well?
I was asked to be here, and here I am.
But senators were very frustrated. Normally, in your past role as CIA director, you would be here briefing these senators on an issue this sensitive. Why isn't the CIA director herself here today?
I was asked to be here, and I'm here.
Elise is totally not answering the question.
That's right. And this, I think, Phil got to the frustration that was from senators in the room that, you know, these senators, look, they've always been concerned about the war in Yemen, but they were enabling the administration to go forward with Saudi Arabia. In the wake of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, there's a lot more concern about this crown prince. And now they're saying, listen, we can't let this go business as usual. And this is the rub with the administration. And Secretary, this incredible op-ed this morning in the Wall Street Journal, really berating lawmakers on both parties, anybody who disagreed with the administration's desire to focus on the relationship with Saudi Arabia over, you know, any concerns that they have, whether it's about Jamal or other actions from the Crown Prince, really berating them. And I think that kind of bled into the frustration on the Hill. Phil had some great reporting that that op-ed fell flat, and he's not answering the question. This administration is acknowledging that this happened. You know, President Trump has even said in interviews, you know, it's possible that the Crown Prince did know about this murder, but they want to move on. And the senators, as Phil said, using their prerogative to say, not so fast.
Well, we'll see if Lindsey Graham's able to turn the tables, as he said, you know, in those 9 days before, you know, they do anything with the spending bill. We'll see. Phil and Elise, thank you both so much. Breaking news now.